Hey, beloved, I'm so glad you're here. I am coming to you from my garden because this series, you and I are going to get into spiritual living, conscious living, aka the road to freedom and liberation. And what does that look like in the day to day choices you and I have to make? What does a spiritually aligned relationship look like? A spiritually aligned health and well being practice look like? A spiritually aligned finances, career, vocation, community connection look like? Because it's when you and I understand the very life that we are living, the choices you make every day, the people you interact with, the offerings of your gifts to life itself, is spiritual living, is your spirituality. So let's get into it in this series, which we're going to go through September and October for the next couple months. And the practices I want to focus on in relationship to day-to-day living, pleasure, play, the spirituality of your pleasure, the spirituality of playing. I want to get into fasting and what it means to abstain and maybe take some things out of play so that you can more wholly be who you are intended to be. And as always, I want to talk about rest, but I want to talk about a specific flavor of Sabbath, which the Hebrew definition of Sabbath is often translated as to stop, which I'm down for. There's a bunch of stopping that we could get into, but it also can be translated as delight. So one of the practices we'll be diving into over the next couple months is the Sabbath practice of stopping and delighting. I hope you will join me if you are in the Albuquerque area. We gather at Sundays at 4 p.m., get into community, get into practicing with others. There is a depth and experience of yourself and your spiritual life that can only come in community. Let's get into it. I love you so much.
All right. So if any of you are, I don't see any really new people, but there are a couple. We do like to engage in prayer a lot here, and it's often a little bit different type of prayer than some people would be used to. So I'd like to anchor my talk in prayer. It'll kind of help me to adjust to this situation. So let's pray together. Let my thoughts and words be instruments of love, the love that so perfectly created me and all that I see. So perfect was this symphonic creation that despite all the diversity and variation in its making, nothing is lacking. There is no separation. I am one with all of it, and for this knowing, I am grateful. And so it is. So all of our Wendell Holmes had this to say. It's a very profound, a little depressing, but also hopeful quote. Most of us go to our graves with music still inside us, unplayed. Why is this so? Too often it is because we are always getting ready to live. Before we know it, time runs out. So for me, this quote is the impetus for our series this month. Does anybody know what our series is this month, besides Clarissa? Conscious living. So your first step in conscious living is to know the theme. That'd be a good start, right? Know the theme of the month. We're very theme-oriented here. What you also might not know is that then that theme gets broken down, and every week we talk about something different that relates to that theme. And then a group of us practitioners get on the phone every day and break that theme of the week down into daily bites that you can absorb. So if you haven't signed up for Spirit Calling, it's a great way to stay connected to these themes and stay connected to what's going on here. So conscious living. So when I thought about conscious living, my girl, the poet, what do I call her? I can't remember now. The Force of Nature, the poet of The Force of Nature, Mary Oliver. So this is what she says, and I think it relates to our theme of the week, which I'll be telling you about in a second. She says, "What are you going to do with your one wild and precious life?" Okay? So our theme of the week is exemplified by our opening song, Step into Your Power. So I don't know about you, but immediately these two things seem like gigantic things. Conscious living. You know, what does that mean? Conscious living. It makes me think I have to be conscious every single moment of every single day and live my life, under pressure. And that's not at all what we're talking about. Nor are we talking about, when I think of stepping into my power, that seems like I got to put on a three-piece suit and be some superpower or a super cape, putting on a Superman cape. Not what we're talking about. So let's break it down a little bit. So step into your power. Step into implies action, okay? So all we're asking is action. The word I really like as it pertains to us being in spiritual community is just commitment. So stepping to your power is commitment to your power. So I want to talk about power because that's also not what it appears, in my opinion. So in that song that I sang to begin with, it said, all you need, you already own. It was given to you on the day that you were born. Okay, so does anybody have a guess what that is? What that power is that we're talking about? Just off of that lyric? Okay, Dino's on it. Plato to Rumi, the Beatles to Eckhart Tolle have all gone down this rabbit hole, and they all came to the same conclusion. And it's also in that song. All you need is love is all you need. So love is the power that we're talking about. It's the power in my prayer that I talked about, the symphonic creation. It's the unifying principle around everything that we see and everything that we are. We wouldn't be here without that force, that creative, primordial force of love. So that's it. It makes it very easy for us. So step into your power, then be love. Commit to love. Practice love. That's it. Makes it so much easier than thinking about stepping into your power. It's like this isn't a workshop for self-help workshop. It's all right. So anyway, that's what we're getting at. So conscious living of that purpose comes down to understanding and navigating relationships. Okay? And so we'll explore these, what I believe, the four types of relationships that, again, I had mentioned Plato, the ancient Greeks. I want to talk a little bit about them. To understand and own different ways that we show up as love. The ancient Greeks named 8 types of love. So there's 4 of them that I believe comprise the pillars of a conscious life. Okay, so my disclaimer is that, learning and living these, I'm going to lay them out in a line, but they're not linear in the way that we experience them. We're always experiencing these 4 types of love all the time in our walk through daily life. I just want to explain them linear because they do in a way build on each other, and I think we probably do learn them at first as children in this way. So I'll lay them out linearly, but that's not the way that it's not a linear thing. It's a practice thing. So the quintessential or the ultimate form of love at the summit of the mountain is agape love. Let me read a little bit about the explanation of agape love for you. Agape is the highest level of love to offer. It's given without any expectations of receiving anything in return. Offering agape is a decision to spread love in any circumstance, including destructive situations. Agape is not a physical act, it's a feeling. But acts of self-love can elicit agape since self-monitoring leads to the same result. So agape is felt in our spirit. It's the spirit of love. We're practicing it right now by coming together in this way. So a little micro practice here is I just want everybody to, we do this every Christmas Eve. We light candles and we sing Imagine by the Beatles. So we're not going to do that right now, but I do want you to use your index finger as a candle and just stick it up. And then look around the room and, a gesture of connecting that finger to another. This is the practice of agape love. Keep doing that for a minute. Your spirit creates purpose bigger than yourself. It motivates you to pass kindness on to others. The way we show agape is to dedicate your life to improving the lives of others. When we stay conscious of our actions, it is for the good of humankind. That's agape. And offer your time and charity to someone in need. That's another expression of agape love. So that's the ultimate goal, right? So if we were just able to do that all the time, we've reached the kind of the apex of love. And we're doing it. We don't need to be perfect in all these other forms of relationships to love to be able to do that. We do the best that we can. But now we're gonna go back to square one and kind of examine what gets in our way of doing that. All right, so the next type of love is one we talk about a lot here, but I'm going to talk about it in a slightly different way. And that's philotia, self-love. Self-love, okay? Because we would be able to practice agape love in such a profound way if it wasn't for the things that get in the way of loving ourselves. And those are either judgments that we make toward ourselves or grievances that we hold toward other people. So philia is affectionate love. Don't be fooled by that word. It's love without romantic attraction, and it occurs between friends and family members. It occurs when both people share the same values and respect with each other. It's commonly referred to as brotherly love. And again, the catalyst for this type of love, I had said that, maybe I didn't say it, but with self-love, that's felt in your soul. We practice soul care here. It's like getting your soul online. With philia, the catalyst is the mind. Your mind articulates which friends are on the same wavelength with you and with who you can trust. So, going back to self-love, when I joined this community, I was deep in the false belief of feeling utterly broken. And by coming and practicing agape love, I came to the center under protest, but I came anyway. And I began to interact, and I began to receive this type of brotherly love. And it began to change me, and it reconnected me to my ability to love myself. And then it cultivated what Clarissa and I now refer to as the bleam. The bleam. So brotherly love is all about the bleam. We come together like this and practice agape love. What happens in these settings is we experience the bleam. And to exemplify that, I have these badass glasses that belong to my wife. So this is the practice. This is the experience of philia. When we're together in community, I look out at my community and I'm like, who do I bleam with? That's my brother Rodney. We're on the same bleam, the same wavelength. I see him through the glasses of love. Obviously, my lovely wife, Clarissa, I spoke about Jan. The problem in this community is we are mostly all on the same beam, and that's beautiful. So philia, you can replicate it over and over and over again, and it just gets better and better and more juicy. And that really is the point of spiritual community, is to create an agape container for philia to take place. Okay? Enough of the glasses. All right, so lastly, the deeper thing, and this is really, in my mind, I believe, the journey that we're on in this community and what I'm beginning to witness, and I can share my experience of it too in a second, is the fourth pillar, I believe, in conscious living and understanding the relationships in love, is pragma. And pragma is enduring love. Pragma is a unique bonded love that matures over many years. It's an everlasting love between people that choose to put equal effort into their relationship. Commitment and dedication are required to reach pragma. Instead of falling in love, you are standing in love with the person you want by your side over time. And that can be friendships, deep, enduring friendships. I think Dino and Jan are examples in our community of pragma. It's not always easy, but the commitment is there. It's deeper. It's over time. So I said, like, we come together in agape and we might be on the same beam, but then, about 3 or 4 weeks later, I'm like, I'm not really still feeling that. Rodney, I don't know. But and generally, it's just one or maybe one, two, few people in your life that you'll ever reach that stage of pragma with. But it is the basis, in my opinion, for spiritual partnership, the concept of spiritual partnership, of really growing in spirit. So Clarissa, come on up. So this is the experience of pragma. Just hang on to that rope. So pragma is commitment, enduring commitment through ups and downs, through trials of life, through all sorts of things that you just don't know what's going to happen to you. And I'm in fear, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Oh, I've got my person. I've got that commitment. I don't have to question it. This is pragma. Just sum it up, put a little bow on this again. It's 4 pillars, and when we talk about living a conscious life, what do we know? Our purpose, all we need is, all right. So our theme for the week, stepping into our power, is to being the expression of love in our lives. To do that, we really need these 4 pillars. We have got to put down the stick of whatever is getting in the way of us being an expression of love. We then need to get on the beam. We can't do this alone. You live your life on your own terms, but you cannot do it alone, as Mark Nepo said in a slightly different way. But I need connection. I need people in my life. And within that community, to go deeper on a spiritual journey so that I can really have something to offer in that agape sense of benefiting all mankind. I really need somebody at my side to be able to do that. So those are the 4 pillars as I see them.